welcome back to my channel. So I'm very excited for today's video. It is a rehaul, and it's a rehaul of my first haul that I ever posted on my channel. So I've been really excited to do this video for several months. Before I get into it though, I want to do a little bit of an update on my first rehaul. That was on the Sephora Superstar Favorites Kit, whatever it's called. And I did end up selling 2 of those items when I decluttered everything a few weeks ago. So I just wanted to let you guys know what those were. I sold my Urban Decay eyeshadow single in Sin, just because I already have that in my Naked palette, and even though I reached for the single more than my Naked palette, I would like to get myself to reach for my Naked palette more because it's something that I neglect a lot. So I thought by getting rid of that single, I still have Sin when I want it, and maybe it will inspire me to pick up that palette a little bit more often. So I did pass that along to Anya Marie, who recently used up her Sin in her Naked palette and was looking to buy another one. So I know that it's in a good home and it will get a lot more love than I was giving it. So that worked out really great for both of us. And then the second item was my NARS Orgasm Blush. That's actually one of the reasons I wanted to buy that set. I'd always been really curious about having Orgasm, and I thought it was a really great deal to get it in that set, because the set was like $75 and that blush is $30, so that's almost half the value of the set alone. Plus I got a ton of other really great stuff, so I still think that whole kit was a really great value, and I don't regret purchasing it. I just found that I prefer Deep Throat to Orgasm, and so whenever I was reaching for that kind of shimmery blush, I would always reach for Deep Throat, and I just wouldn't use Orgasm very often. So I figured I might as well sell it, because I knew that was something that, you know, there's a high interest and demand for, and you know, maybe someday I will get Orgasm again if it's in a palette or a little mini. I would be happy to have it again. I do like it, but it's not something I found that I really need or is an essential in my collection, so I did pass that along as well. So that's just a little update on my feelings on that set. I still am glad I bought it. I still think it was a great deal, but I did end up passing on a couple of things from it. So now let's get into the new rehaul. I will post the link to the original haul video down below if you are interested in seeing that. The first item I purchased was from IT Cosmetics. They had a Friends and Family sale, and I believe this was also on sale on top of that, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember. This is the palette. It's an all matte palette, and you know I love matte eyeshadows, especially neutral eyeshadows. So I really like this. I will say, like, some of these shades, they're a little similar to each other. There's not a huge difference. Like these two are pretty close. This is Peace and Wonderland. So on the eye, I don't think you can really tell a huge difference. And here are 3 others. I mean, they are different, but once you blend them out, they're not, you know, super noticeably different, I think. So I will say that I am glad I bought this at a discount, but it is something I do reach for a lot, and I know I'll get a lot more use out of this year since I'm not painting the Lorac Pro anymore. I'm still going to be painting the palette, but I'll explain all that later, but I will have a lot more freedom to use other stuff in my collection. So this is this. I don't regret it at all. I really like it. I reach for it a lot, or at least I have reached for it a lot since I got home. And since I've run out of most of the Lorac Pro, this is something I've used a lot in the past 3 weeks that I've been here. The next item I have is another palette, and this is from the drugstore. This is the Wet n Wild Comfort Zone palette. This has a lot of hype around it, and I have to say that it definitely lives up to it. I love this palette. I'm excited to use this a lot more too in the upcoming year. I purchased it mostly for this shade right here, which is a dupe for a lot of other eyeshadows. MAC Club, the blue-brown pigments. Urban Decay has one that kind of looks like this as well. So I really like to wear that all over the lid. It is so pretty. It's one of those eyeshadows where when I have it on and I like look in the mirror, I like can't stop looking at my eyelids. Not like in a vain way, but just like because the color is so pretty. So I really love that. And then I'm really impressed with the quality of all of the eyeshadows in here. I used this green one in a Get Ready With Me a couple weeks ago, and I really like that. And then I really love this shade right here. It's kind of a light bronzy-esque shade. I think it's really pretty. And the only 2 I don't think I'll get a lot of use of are these darker ones, but that's kind of the same in any palette. I don't get a lot of use out of the darker ones. And these are both kind of glittery too, so I'm not a big fan of that. But all of these kind of like satin metallic-y shades are really gorgeous. Next, I had placed an order with Birchbox, and I got this Laura Mercier lip gloss. It's a colored lip gloss, and I don't know why I bought this. I remember there was like a few weeks where all of a sudden I decided that I should get more into lip gloss, even though I'm not a lip gloss person at all. So I bought this because it was very unique. I didn't have any lip glosses this color, but there's a reason. I really don't like lip glosses that are like dark like this. If I do reach for a lip gloss, I want it to be like very light or almost clear. So this was a dumb purchase basically. I kind of regret it. I didn't need it, but oh well, I still have it. I did wear it a couple weeks ago in some videos that I filmed back where I was living for my internship. I'll link one of those down below if you want to see what it looks like on, but I'm just not a huge fan of it. But with that purchase, I got a gift with purchase from Birchbox. I got my little Laura Mercier Universal Setting Powder, and I really love that. I used it up in a project pan very recently. And I also got this little brush. It's a little fan brush. I don't really know why this came with a setting powder, because this is not an efficient tool to use with a setting powder, but this is really great for very pigmented highlights. Like with the Mary Luminizer, I used this with that in the past couple of weeks, and it just does it very lightly. It's the perfect amount, so I really like having this little fan brush, and it is nice if you are traveling and you need something like this. The next thing I had in that haul was a travel brush set from Paula's Choice. I don't have that with me. I have that where I'm living for my internship. I left it there. It's not something I've gotten a ton of use out of. When I first purchased it, I did use it on a few trips that I went on, but this summer I got a brush roll from Sephora, and so I can bring all of the brushes I normally use, and it fits in a pretty compact space. And I've mostly been using that when I've been traveling in the later part of this year. I've found that, you know, it takes up a very little amount of space. I can fit every brush I have basically in it, and most of the traveling I've done, I will say, has been in my car, so I haven't really been limited in space that I have. So if I was, you know, flying somewhere and had a very small bag, I think I probably would bring the Paula's Choice set over the brush roll, but it's still not something I've gotten a ton of use out of, and I probably could have lived without it. So that is one thing that I wouldn't necessarily recommend. So next I have the items I bought from Sephora using the gift card that they sent out last year. It was $25 off of a $50 purchase or more, and I think I got it to be like $51 or something really close to $50. So one thing I purchased was this angled blush brush, and this was a really good choice. If you watch that video, I kind of talk about how I was trying not to buy as much makeup, so it was the very beginning of my kind of I'm on a no-buy experiment. So I got this, and I'm really glad I got this. It's very different from the other blush brush I have, which is this one, and I was just finding that this one didn't work really well for kind of harder blushes. Like my Clinique Cheek Pop, for example, I would have to like put my fingers on the other side and kind of rub it like this to get enough on here to use. So with this I don't have to do that. I also use this a lot with Tarte Exposed, because I find that one kind of gets hard and it's hard to pick up a lot of pigment with it. So harder blushes, it's really nice to have this more dense brush than this big fluffy one. The other thing I purchased at Sephora was a mini body butter set from Soap & Glory. It came with 3 mini body butters. They're all in different scents. I used those all up. I really, really love those body butters, and the scents are amazing. And I've since purchased other body butters from Soap & Glory, so I really, really love that set. I think it was a pretty good deal, and I have no regrets there. Right, next I have a few items I purchased when I visited my sister in Chicago, and I knew that Chicago, their Macys has a Inglot counter, and I heard so much about Inglot I was really excited to check it out. I didn't do any research really on what shades I would want before I went there, so what they did is they gave us like a magnetic board, and they had all the pans like on a wall, and you could go over, swatch them, and then the ones you wanted you could put on your own little board, so you could keep track of the ones you wanted to purchase. So if you don't know, like all of Inglot stuff comes in like a Freedom system, so you just buy the pans, and then there are different palettes you can buy. You can buy ones just for eyeshadows, you can buy ones that have space for eyeshadow and blush, all kinds of stuff. So I picked up this 5-pan eyeshadow palette, and I really love the packaging. Like, I'm not gonna lie, that's one of the main reasons I picked out this specific one, because I really like the long size of it. I just think it's really cool looking, and so it's a magnetic. So it kind of sits on that. I really love this packaging. And these are the 5 eyeshadows I picked out. So I was trying to make it, you know, so this would be something I could travel with or, you know, get a complete look out of. So I have this one, which is like a light all over the lid, kind of highlight shade. Then I have this one that's a brown, it's kind of dark for a crease, but you can blend it out and make that work. And then I bought this one because I knew I was going to be painting the Lorac Pro, and I kind of wanted to find a dupe for light bronze and pewter. So this is what I found for light bronze, and I'm laughing because I still have light bronze. Those two are my favorite shades in the Lorac Pro, so I kind of saved them for last, and I still have them. So I didn't need to buy dupes for them a year ago, so I've learned my lesson kind of there. And then I can't remember which one of these is. Yeah, so I think this purpley one, they're not exact dupes for pewter and the other one, but you know, they're close enough. And then this brown is kind of just a nice darker shimmery brown. So I will say that I'm not like wowed by the quality of these. I mean, they're very good eyeshadows, but you hear so much hype about how amazing they are, and I don't think they're like that much more amazing than anything else. I forgot how much the pans are, but they are relatively cheap compared to other higher end eyeshadows, and I really like that you can like buy them and put them in here and, you know, switch them out. So if you just have a magnet, you can easily pop these pans out. And so I don't know, I kind of regret my color choices. Like I said, I still have light bronze, I still have pewter, and I probably have other shades that are similar to those in my collection. I do really like this kind of purpley shade. I remember my sister got this one too, and the sales lady actually pulled the last one out for herself because we were all kind of really liking it. So, or was it this one that I remember if we all liked? I don't know. They are very pretty, but I don't reach for this a ton. But it's kind of hard to use that as a metric since I have been painting a palette and not reaching for anything a ton. So, I don't know, like, I'm not gonna lie, the packaging is really what makes me like this a lot, and I wouldn't ever like pass on this whole palette. I would be interested in trying more from Inglot. Maybe, I think it would be fun to have like a big palette with a ton of colors, and then having kind of swapping out what's in this little palette and using this to travel. Do I need any more eyeshadows though? No, so I probably won't buy any more for a while, but I do really like the whole idea behind the Freedom system. And like I said, these aren't bad, I just don't think they are amazing. And I've heard so much about the mattes, and I find like they are a little bit chalky, or this light one's definitely kind of chalky. The brown isn't quite as chalky, but they are kind of dry feeling, and they're not very creamy. So I don't know if it's just these shades that I purchased or if other ones are better. Like I said, I didn't do a lot of research, so maybe I kind of should have planned my purchase a little better, but so I'm kind of on the fence about this purchase, but I just really like this, and I find it very satisfying. I love the shape of it too, which is totally stupid and superficial, so that doesn't really matter. But the last thing I picked up was the Inglot gel liner. When we went there, I just bought this. I thought about getting this and I resisted, and then we actually passed by it again later, and I was like, no, I really want it. So I've been using this a ton this year, and I still have a ton left. I haven't even hit ban or anything, as you can see. I do think it's getting a little bit drier, like not where it's really impeding me using it, but I do want to try the Duraline that they have, which is kind of meant to revive things like this, so I'll probably pick that up when I'm in Chicago next week. But I really love this liner. It's the best gel liner I've tried. I haven't tried a ton. I got a sample of the Bobbi Brown one, and I much prefer this. I find it's much darker, and I have to do like a couple of swipes with the Bobbi Brown one, and I like this one a lot more. I've tried some other ones. I've tried the Ulta brand. I think I had one from JCat Beauty. They weren't black, they were in different colors, but this is by far my favorite, and I think it's a great deal. I think it was like $16, so if you compare that to like the MAC Fluid lines or other higher end gel liners, I think this is a great option because it is cheaper and I actually like it better. Alright, so that is everything from that haul. Those are my thoughts a year later, so I hope you enjoyed hearing them. Let me know if you've done a video like this recently, or if you have any thoughts on any of these items. I'd love to hear it. So thanks so much for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye!